In today's episode of Value in My Toy Collection, we're going to value some vintage dolls, a bunch of Trip souvenir toys, some Avon bottles, and some board games. A little bit of everything in today's video. Hey everyone, my name's Chris. I'm a full-time beauty pageant director as my career, but in my spare time, I'm a huge toy collector. I've been collecting toys now for over 40 years. You can officially call me a toyaholic. Thanks so much for checking out my YouTube channel. My channel consists mainly of two things: beauty pageants, which I love, and toys, which I love even more. My dream in life has always been to own a toy museum. So it's finally happened. I've bought a building, and now I've got to move this massive collection and value it into the building. We're calling it the Toy Vault because it's an old bank building located in Crystal Springs, Mississippi that actually has two large vaults. So now I'm just going to make a ton of videos and value my toy collection, and then I'm going to make some where I take you shopping with me to thrift stores and flea markets and toy stores to let you see where I find all these goodies. So let's start this episode of Value in My Toy Collection and value some toys. Let's jump right in and start valuing some toys. These 1981 Fisher-Price My Friend Mandy and Becky dolls are worth $25 each. I got them at a yard sale for $1. This 1981 Playmates Baby Crawl doll is worth about $20, and this Valentine's doll is worth $6. And then we have this vintage fashion doll that's 19 inches, worth about $50. On eBay, they have her for $125. We have a Poor Pitiful Pearl doll by Glad Toy Company, worth about $20. And a Muska doll in her packaging, worth about $25. And then we have a couple more Muska toys. This is her car. It's worth about $12. And then we have these small packages of them in their castle-shaped box, and they're worth about $20 each. We have this vintage small doll here worth about $8, and a Buckingham Palace guard doll worth about $12. This little Irish doll is worth about $5. And then we have this little box, this vintage box of My Fair Lady dolls. And there's 12 of these little dolls, and the whole thing's worth about $30. These are pretty cool. They're probably from the 60s, I would guess. All right, and then we have the quintuplets dolls by Madame Alexander. We only have 4 of the 5, but even the 4 are worth $100. I'm going to try to get another one on eBay, though. Mr. Betrayal doll from the Flying Nuns worth $15, and these 2 Pee-wee dolls are worth $6 each, and this vintage blonde doll is worth about $5. 1989 Joan Walsh Anglin doll is worth $5. This little package of vintage baby dolls is worth $20. And then we have these little 4 craft dolls you can glue on things, worth about $5 for the set. These are called F&B dolls, and they're little babies. And we have 6 of these, and they're worth about $10 each. So that's about $60 more we can add to our overall grand total. A couple of them, their arms are attached with rubber bands, and the rubber bands disintegrated. So we need to get them repaired or kind of glue the arms back on. All right, next we have a Tiffany Taylor doll. She changes her hair. You can go from a brunette to a blonde doll. And she's got her original outfit on. She's worth about $50. Got this little Chase Lounge jewelry box chair worth about $10. And from 1990, we have a mommy doll from Tootsie worth about $12. Then we have this African souvenir doll. She's worth $35. And this small little souvenir doll, she's worth about $6. And then we have this vintage Hawaiian Elise Denny Moo doll worth $20. And this little Russian boy doll from the 70s worth $12. And this little Spanish doll, she's worth about $8. And this boy and girl set of Polish dolls from the 70s is worth $20. We have these little emotion rag dolls, and these are worth about $20 each. I thought that was Pippi Longstockings at first, but it's not. And then we have this larger head doll. She's a Libby doll. She's worth about $10. And then we have this little redhead Dolly Surprise doll worth $10. A little plush baby Stella doll worth $10. And this 1970s redhead doll, that's worth $15. And a Jimmy Rockin' Robin doll from 1998 worth $20. We have 2 17-inch Barbie Dreamtopia Endless Hair dolls worth $18 each. And then we have our Curly Q Stacy doll worth $20. And then from 1968, we have an Ideal Chrissy doll worth about $25. 1960s, we have a Madame Alexander Sleeping Beauty doll worth $35. And then we have this vintage doll. I think she's Polish. She's probably worth about $12. I have a smaller little vintage souvenir doll there worth about $6. And the little Indian doll is worth about $5. Hey, everybody's grandmother had one of those little lace bears worth $5. And then this one's an old air freshener cover that's also worth about $5. And then we have a September Sapphire Blue Angel doll worth $10 and a package of craft dolls worth $8 that are vintage. Then we have this cute little dolly someone made worth about $2. I admire all the grandmas out there that have the time and patience to make these little things. We have a little 2-pack of Dutch dolls that are souvenir dolls worth about $10 still in the box. And then we have these crochet dolls. These are really popular in the 80s and even the 70s, but someone's grandmother probably made their granddaughter these little knitted dresses. They're all worth about $5 each. So that's $25 worth of those little dolls. And then we have a really big one done in yellow that's worth at least $10. Then we have an Abulita Rosa grandmother doll, and she's worth about $40 still in the box. And we have a Cuddle Classic Little Red Riding Hood doll worth about $15, and this blue pillow doll someone made that's worth about $10. We have some educational dolls. We have a Play School Dapper Dan doll worth about $20, and then the smaller dolls will average at probably about $10 each for these. Then these two smaller plush dolls, these would probably be more about $5 each. And then back to $10 for this one. All right, then we have this vintage 1963 edgy 15-inch blonde doll worth about $20. And then I love these. We have these Hawaiian dolls. This one's worth about $20. And then this voluptuous one from the 1960s, she's worth about $30. She's awesome. And then we have this really tall one. She's probably worth about $15. She's from the 60s as well. We have a 1986 Mattel Hot Look Stacy doll worth about $20. And then we have a BFC Noelle doll worth $50. And then two more Hot Look dolls worth about $20 each. And then in the back, in that purple jumpsuit, she's a 1993 Babysitter's Club Dawn doll worth $15. Have some doll furniture. The big sofa's worth about $25, and these chairs are worth about $15 each. Here's my beautiful helper Daisy that likes to check out what I'm doing. Here we have some doll staging we're going to use to put our pageant dolls on in the Toy Museum. And all this staging and the trees and the columns, it's all worth about $80. Daisy approves of all of this. And we're going to take a break because Daisy needs a belly rub. She's doing so good today, being so sweet. So we're going to give this little baby a belly rub. She's so cute. Yes, she is. She's a pretty girl. All right, back to our staging. All the trees and staging, like I said, it's worth about $80, but it's going to make a great setting for our Doll Machiniverse pageant. This vintage 50s diner table worth about $45. We picked that up at the Endless Yard Sale over in Tennessee. Got this cruise ship puzzle we put together in frame worth about $10. It's really detailed and really cool. And then we're going to go to our cabinet of all of our trip souvenir toys. This little corn husk doll is worth about $10. I have one of the Mexican chicken games where you spin it around and it looks like the chickens are pecking at seed, worth about $6. Got this little basket of fruit from Cozumel, worth about $5. It's really detailed. Let's see, we've got these little miniature dolls here. They're probably worth about $5. All right, and then we have this vintage Firenze doll that's from Florence, Italy, worth about $6. She looks like she's from the 50s or 60s, actually. I don't know where I picked her up at. And then we have these large Hawaiian dolls. These are awesome, and these are worth about $15 each. And we've got 3 of these. We've had these a really long time, and they're in really great shape. And then we have one big Hawaiian plush doll in the back. I think she's a music box as well, and she's worth about $12. All right, let's go to another shelf. We have this pretty little Hawaiian doll. She's worth about $10. And then we have a little alligator pencil sharpener from Florida, worth about $3. And then we have our little heavy male hula dancer from Hawaii, a bobblehead, worth about $8. And then we have some little native figures. I think these came from Mexico, but I can't remember for sure. Might have been the Philippines. But we have 3 of those, and those are worth about $5 each. Let's see what else we have up in this. We've got these little pins. This one's shaped like a palm tree. Probably worth about $1. It's not worth much, but it's cute. And let's see what else we have. Looks like we have a couple more little pins. Little hula dancers on them. Probably $1 for both of those. They're not worth much. And then we have this cool banana tree. I started to say bamboo. It's a banana tree. It's worth about $10. And then we have this big vintage Hawaiian musical girl worth about $25. It's holding a little dull pineapple keychain. Need to give her a good cleaning. All right, we've got these little bobbleheads from Mexico. They're turtles and dragons and snails and peacocks. And all their little heads just shake up and down when you touch them. And they were probably $1 each in Mexico. So we'll say $11 for all of those. They're not worth a lot, but they're super duper cute. And then we have another little hula girl figure. She's probably worth about $5. And then we have this aluminum can chair someone made, sculpted. They do a lot of these in Mexico. Probably worth about $4. Not a lot, but super cute. Got this little collapsible hula figure girl. She's worth about $3. And then we have these little small Mexican dolls. These are worth about $5 each. We have 3 of those right there, so that's another $15. See, it all adds up. All right, let's see what else we have. They have these little mini Mexican dolls. These are worth about $5 each. Have another chicken game. This one's colorful and painted, worth about $6. Have a paper mache doll, worth about $6. And then these little beaded figures from Africa. These are worth about $10 for the set. Got a couple dolls from Bahamas. These are worth about $3 each. And then we have these little ceramic Mexican figures worth about $8 for the set. Have this Jamaican painted jar, probably worth about $5, and a little bottle of Cozumel sand worth $1. And then 2 more Mexican dolls worth $5 each. All right, we've got these little trinket boxes of all the different monuments worth $4 each. This Mexican doll's worth $5. She's worth $5. And then the ceramic girl with the fruit on the top of her head's worth about $6. And these little straw dolls from the Bahamas are worth about $5 each. They came from the straw market there. And then we have a little plush hula girl and several little ceramic hula dancers. And these are all worth about $5 each. And we have 6 of those. Little Mexican dolls worth about $5. The mini sombreros probably worth about $2, and so is the tassel. It's worth about $2 as well. And then we have this vintage 1970s Hawaiian music box worth $18, and this little lady from Puerto Rico worth $10. We have a couple of these Hawaiian dolls you put batteries in and they roll around and dance, and they're worth about $10 each. I have some popsicle stands that I made. The whole set's probably worth about $10, but it helps me lift things up on shelves. She Needs a Bath. That vintage hula girl's worth about $20, and the Indian crown doll's worth $8. The San Francisco trinket metal box is worth $15. The teapot's worth about $5. The vintage salt and pepper shakers are worth $6. This Filipino doll's worth about $6. And this Bahamas straw skirt doll's worth about $12. She's really great. I really like her, but she takes up a lot of space. Jamaican doll's worth about $15. Someone did a really good job on her. And then we have another one of those battery-operated hula girls worth about $10. And then a United States Virgin Islands doll from St. Thomas. She's worth about $10. Some more popsicle stands worth about $10. And then this Bahamas purse from Nassau worth about $10. Have a little Cozumel purse someone made worth about $3. And then a little Cayman Islands doll worth about $5. A little doll from Honduras, worth about $5. And then we have this reversible doll we got from St. Thomas. It can be 2 dolls in one. It's worth about $12. And then we have this really nice Jamaican doll with the afro with the flag. She's worth about $20. And the curio cabinet we keep it all in is probably worth about $45. Moving on to some Avon bottles, we have Betsy Ross in the box, worth about $15. And the Dutch Maid, still with her box, also worth $15. Of a Spalding tennis ball canister, that's pretty cool, worth $13. A Lever soap worth $3, that came free in the mail. And an Avon nail polish worth $1, and these little houses are worth $8. We have this fire hydrant still in the box worth $15. And then we have an empty fire hydrant worth about $8. Have this Big Mouth Billy Bass from 1998 worth $30. Have the Mail Truck cologne bottle worth $15. And then we have this little locker set with the box worth about $12. Have some loose bottles. We have the Seahorse with the perfume in it worth about $8. Little Angels worth about $8. I usually value them at about $8. The Dominoes, $8. The Frog with a hat, $8. The little sink set, $8. The jukebox, $8. And the barber's pole, $8. Now this little pitcher and bowl set's worth about $15 from Avon. And I think this is from Alice in Wonderland, probably worth at least $8. Some cedar closet spray worth $8. It's vintage. And then these last two, the ice cream sundae and the lamp, are worth $8 each. And then we have the really large fire truck still in the box. This thing's massive. It's worth at least $15. And then we have this Buick Skylark from 1953. It's worth about $15. And Vantastic, which is one of those cool 70s or 80s vans, it's worth about $15 as well. This vintage Chubbles plush, still with a tag, from 1984, worth about $20. Just some random stuff now. A little Fisher Price Cinderella, she's worth about $5. $100 candy making little playset, worth about $15. Some vintage Chinese checkers, worth about $20. And let's see what else we have. We have this Find It game. You shake it up and look for little things hidden in there. My friend Melissa gave me that for Christmas. It's probably worth about $15. Got this cool Video Village game. That's really old. That's worth about $15. We'd have to open that up and see what it's all about. Have a Trivia Pursuit game from the 1980s. It's worth about $10. Jacksonopoly for Jackson, Mississippi. This is worth about $15. And then the Ole Missopoly is worth about $25. We've got this little desktop skee ball game worth about $20. And a Bop It worth about $25. And an unopened bingo set, probably worth about $15 now. Monopoly Empire game is worth about $20. Have a Seinfeld Monopoly game worth about $28 now. Are you smarter than a fifth grader game? Absolutely not. It's worth about $15. Goldilocks and the Three Bears vintage games worth about $18. And then Shrek Operation, it's worth about $15. And then we have the Go to the Head of the Class game, it's worth about $15. And a Pokemon Sorry game worth about $20. And then we have a Monopoly Here and Now game worth about $20. Then we have a Monopoly Deluxe game worth about $20. I have a Retro Payday game. I love that game as a kid. It's worth about $20. I have a Monopoly Spider-Man game. It's worth about $20. Iron Man Operation. It's worth about $15. I have a Crocodile Hunter puzzle worth about $15. An unopened Scandal game worth about $20. And then our last thing to value, a logo board game worth $10. Well, in our previous 455 videos of value on my toy collection, our collection was worth $1,122,894. And now when we add this video with all of our dolls, souvenir toys, games, and etc., we can add another $2,902 to our total. So that means our overall grand total for episode 456 of value in my toy collection is $1,125,796. I always wanted to say I have $1 million toy collection, and now I can say it. I'm not really a millionaire though. I'm more of a toyonaire because it's not cash money. But I've just been saving all these toys all my life, going to thrift stores and flea markets, garage sales, toy stores, looking online, and it's just accumulated to this big old total. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I am making them. I like to see what all I have and what it's actually worth. I'm putting all the toys on our Facebook page, which is called the Toy Vault of Mississippi. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please think about doing so because it really helps us grow. So until our next video, we will see you then.